I'm going to do a couple of things this morning. I want you to, and AJ, don't get out of whack here. Just hold what you got. But I want you to go ahead and open your Bibles to Psalm 139. Okay, that's where we're going to go in just a few minutes. I want to share with you a couple of things before then, but Psalm 139 will be where we'll be, and I just want you to be ready because sometimes I get going and I don't want to take my foot off the gas. You know, I just like to keep going. So. But I want to, as Brandon mentioned, I wear a lot of hats, and you know that's okay. And you know we talk about what things God has blessed us with, what things God has given to us, what gifts we've given. We talk about all the spiritual gifts and all these different things. I have the gift of ADD.
Amen. Amen.
Okay. Any of y'all relate to the gift of ADD? Okay. To kind of rip off an old commercial, ADD works for me, okay? That's, you know, and I just take this moment as an aside, okay? You know, for some reason in our culture and society today, we've kind of said everybody's got to be like this. It's okay to be different, okay? And, you know, we try to dope people up or do whatever we can to suppress what God gave them. And it's like, wait a minute, you know. If I didn't have ADD, I wouldn't accomplish near what God had called me to do, okay? Why do I wear so many hats? It's because I can't sit and concentrate on one thing that long, okay? I got to move on to something else. And if I'm not doing something, I'm getting in trouble because I can't just sit and do nothing. So I have to find something else to do. But God has blessed me with the opportunity to be in His ministry, an opportunity to work for Him in a lot of different capacities. Even though it didn't at the time seem like it was the greatest thing ever, the greatest thing God ever did for me was to take me out of where I was comfortable and put me where I was totally uncomfortable. I was sharing with the young people's class this morning about just kind of my testimony to an extent, and you know, I have a degree in accounting. Okay, now I know I don't look like one of those nerdy guys. I know, right? At least that's what my mom always told me. But and mamas don't lie, do they? No, mamas don't lie. But I have a degree in accounting, and God called me to do something that went against every accounting principle I had ever learned. Okay? And my dad was a CPA who was so tight, he squeaked when he walked, you know? Now don't poke Brother Charlie when I say that, okay? Wow. You feel the love, brother? I wasn't even aiming at you. I said my dad, and they looked at you. I don't know what that was. But, you know, God called me to a ministry that basically said, all right, Robert, quit your good, solid, full-time, very successful, very active ministry job. Okay? I was working as youth pastor at Calvary Baptist Church in Henderson, Texas, who we had tripled in size. And our youth ministry had just exploded. It had gone 10 times the size that it was. And, I mean, things were just exciting and happening, and everybody was happy. And everybody was, you know, we just had a great time. And I was making good money in ministry. That can happen, Brother Charlie. I experienced that one time, okay? But God said, you know what? I've got something better for you. Now, what did that mean? That meant that just as my wife and I had bought a house and we were about to start having kids, I quit my full-time, good-paying, successful ministry job and basically went out on the road holding up a sign, "We'll preach for food." Okay? And it was that bad, okay? In fact, I told people, they'd say, "Well, how's the ministry going?" I said, "Well, let me tell you this. If you see me here, it ain't going well. Because if I'm not traveling, I'm not eating." And, I mean, we were guaranteed $300 income a month. $300. Now, our bills were based on well over $300 a week. And we went to $300 a month. Like, you see what I'm talking about? Those accounting genes and brain cells just kind of went crazy in there. But you know, it was such an obvious thing that God was calling me to, that even when I went to my dad, who was the good, tight, conservative CPA, who should have been the one, I actually went to him to tell me how stupid it was so I could get out of it, because I said, well, Dad said it was a stupid idea. But I went to my dad and talked to him about it, and he said, sounds like what you ought to do to me. I went, Dad, come on, man. You were my last hope, you know. I was really hoping you were going to tell me not to. And he said, I think if God's calling you to it, go to it, son. Thanks, Dad, for nothing. Any of y'all ever have those experiences? You go to somebody you expecting to bust your bubble and they don't? It's like, come on now. So anyway, but let me tell you what God has done. That was, this coming August, that will be 19 years ago. And not only are we still doing it, but we've added 3 boys and a dog, and all 5 of us have gained weight. Okay? We haven't starved. And, you know, we didn't lose that house. In fact, we sold that house for more than double what we paid for it and built a new one. God is good. Okay? When we do what He says. And on top of that, I have gotten some of the coolest experiences that anybody would ever have. I shared with the class this morning, I have a retroactive bucket list. Huh? Well, you know what a bucket list, right, is? All those things you want to do before you kick the bucket. Well, my thing is, I go and God gives me opportunity to do stuff, and I go, that was awesome! And I go back and write it on my bucket list and scratch it off because I couldn't even think that up. And would y'all agree some of the things I told you this morning that's kind of the case, okay? And if y'all want to know what some of those were, you can ask these guys, okay? But God has called me this ministry, and you know, here's the thing. When He called and I answered, I said, God, and my answer was, God, I have no idea what You're calling me to do. But I'm just going to do what I know, and I'll let You take care of the rest. And 19 years later, we've done ministry in 30-something states, most of those multiple times, and 5 continents. Okay? And we also have published curriculum. We've got full-blown children's curriculum, full-blown teen curriculum. We've got all these different things, and it's all just there. And God did it all. Because He did it in spite of me. I can assure you of that, because I've done everything I can to mess it up. And He did it anyway. But one of the things that I'll share with you, and I want to just show you a few pictures here, and AJ, it's your turn now. And I've got a clicker today, and it's that, okay? AJ's my clicker. But a little thing called the Amazon Project. I had no inkling when we started this ministry. I was thinking we'd be doing good to get out of Rusk County, Texas, okay? Which is where Henderson is, all right? But God's allowed us to go all over the world. And in 2009, I had the opportunity to take a group of people to the Amazon jungles of Peru. Now, I did not intend, I was going to go to all we knew was there were some villages there, that they didn't have any churches, and that they were, they were kind of, a lodge owner had asked a friend of mine if he could get some people to come and tell people about Jesus. And so we said, let's just go do some Bible schools, and we'll just kind of see what happens. Well, we got there. And after we got there, we realized we can't leave these people because they need more than just us coming and telling them about Jesus one time and that's it. And, you know, there's one in every group, right? And I don't know why I'm looking at you, but I'm going to guess that. But there's one in every group. We had a group of 16 people there, and there was one lady in that group, and she was a good old East Texas lady, and we were riding in a boat one day on this small tributary of the Amazon, and we had stopped there for a little while, and our guide kind of showed us a few things and talked to us about some stuff, and basically just expressed his desire that we would do ministry there, and he wasn't even a saved man, and Anyway, so we got going down the river, and her name was Miss Betty. And I'm not, it's nobody here, but anyway, we're riding down that river in the boat, and Miss Betty, in the best East Texas accent she could get, she said, y'all, she said, we just can't leave these people. And I said, thank you, Miss Betty. You know, I knew that, but now that you've said it out loud, you've obligated me to do it, okay? You know, as long as it was just something everybody thought, it was one thing, but when you said it out loud, that sealed it, okay? So now, fast forward from June of 2009 till now, I've been there 19 times, okay? And we've now got a branch of Texas Baptist Institute and Seminary started in the jungle. We teach seminary 3 times a year. And now the project has outgrown our ministry, which is what it should have done. It was outgrown us from the start. But now we've been able to have a church in Arkansas that has now taken over sponsorship of the project in and of itself. And there's a young man who's attending seminary in Little Rock who has already said that when he graduates seminary, he wants to move his family down there to run the project. And this church is already paying him a part-time salary to work with the project now. And so that's what's grown since 2009. And so, AJ, go ahead. I'm just going to show you, and I don't know what these are going to look like. And this means absolutely nothing to you except for the church. The church in Arkansas has said, you know, we've got to take this even further than what we've done. They've purchased this piece of property that you see. Everything you see there, that the trees in that bottom picture, everything from the river back, that's the front half. And it's about 6 acres of property, okay? Any of y'all ever thought about wanting to own property? Okay? Let me tell you, I can hook you up, all right? Because they bought a little over 6 acres with river frontage, okay? And a nice house. Go ahead, AJ. Look, the next picture. Here's, you can't see, but there's the living room / bedroom / other things, okay? Really nice house on it. A little over 6 acres with probably about 200 feet of river frontage and a nice house, and they paid a little less than $3,000 for that. Okay? You want to own property? Come on with me, all right? And on top of that, any of y'all ever thought about going on a cruise to Cabo? I can do that for you too. Now, it's Cabo Pantoja, Peru, and it's on the Amazon River, and it's a very small village, but I can take you on a cruise to Cabo in a little wooden boat, okay? But, you know, it's all in your perspective, okay? But this is where we're going. Go ahead, AJ, to the next one. I don't know what's going to... Oh, and this property even has wonderful fruit trees for you to eat off of. The last time we taught seminary there, during the break times, you just went and picked something off the tree and ate it. It's wonderful. And it'll make you throw rocks at that stuff at the grocery store, okay? It's outstanding. So anyway, go ahead to the next one, AJ. This is a picture of the first session of seminary that was done there on that piece of property. We've been teaching seminary now since 2011. And we had built a pavilion of a building in another village, but then when we got this property, because our ministry spread out, this property is actually halfway in between where we were teaching and where some of the farthest people that are coming, that come to seminary, where they're coming from. And you say, well, how far do they come? Oh, it takes them a full day to get there. Okay? They travel a full day to get there, a full day to get back, 3 full days of seminary. We teach like this, 3 full days of seminary, and we'll go 8 to 10 hours per day. And as you can see is the nice padded pews with the nice backs and the air conditioning and we don't have heat-o-vision and smell-o-vision and chicken-o-vision and all that. We have a lot of strange students. Sometimes it's chickens, dogs, whatever that come wandering through. But let me tell you, these people are excited. It wears you out as the teachers. It wears the teachers out. And you look at the students and you can just see the weariness in their face because, it's long and hard and, that last day you're like, y'all want to kind of cut this short? No, go more, And it really humbles you, to realize that. And by the way, this is a culture that if they don't fish today, they don't eat tonight. If they don't farm today, they don't eat next week. Okay? They don't have paid time off from their jobs. Okay? And that's what people say, what do these people do for a living? They survive. They live. That's what they do. But what do they have to do? In order for them to give up that 5 days to come to seminary, because it's a day of travel, a day back, and the 3 days of seminary, they have to make provisions in advance. They have to find someone else to tend their crops. They have to find someone else to do this, do that. And we've had as many as 54 attend our seminary sessions. Okay? And so it's pretty amazing what's going on in the Amazon. And let me tell you the need in the Amazon jungle of Peru. There are approximately 5,000 villages in the Amazon basin of Peru. Okay? Of those 5,000 villages, the best estimate is no more than 5% of them have any regular Bible influence in them at all. You do the math on that, that's approximately 4,750 villages that have no regular Bible influence in them at all. Doesn't mean they've never heard the gospel. It just means that there's no one there regularly teaching them the Bible. Okay? And in fact, we fight against people like us, like we were going to be, because there are a lot of people who make that one-time trip. Okay? And I can't tell you how many people we have shared the gospel with, and then their response has been, I'll be saved when you come back. I'll be saved when you come back. You know what? There's probably people right here in this area the same way with you. Okay? I'll be saved when you come back. Now, what are they saying to us? I'll be saved when, number one, you show me you care enough about me to come back, and I'm not just some little, I'm helping your conscience kind of thing. Okay? Number two, when I see you really believe it, then I'll be saved. Okay? And we've had many people that on the second trip, they got saved. Now, after 19 times, I say, I'm back. Okay? I'll be back. And you know I'm back, and you know I care, and you know what I'm doing. So we try to remove that excuse. But that's our seminary effort there. And then the goal is that these guys are going to go, and they're going to go places we can't even ever dream to go. Because those 5,000 villages I'm talking about, they're scattered out over hundreds of or tens of thousands of square miles of jungle. Okay? We attempted to go from the lodge that we stay in a lot of the times, we attempted to go from there to the next river over, the next tributary, and we had 11 villages up there that some people were in our seminary were working with. They said, we need your help over there. We tried to leave our lodge in our boat. We have a 40-foot wooden boat with a 40-horsepower motor on the back. And we tried to leave that lodge and go around to that river and try to just get to, there were 5 villages, and they started working in village 6. They worked in villages 6 through 16 on this tributary. Okay? We left a little before daylight. We went for 5 hours, and we made it to village number 4. And we just had to turn around and come back. So we rode all day in the boat, and we never got to there. The thing was, we asked them the next time, said, we tried to come see you, but we tried, and they said, well, in your boat with that motor leaving there, they said, you're probably going to be about 13 hours one way. Okay? And that's just the next river over. Okay? And there's thousands of those tributaries like that, with villages like that. And you got to go village by village by village. So the ministry, it's several lifetimes of ministry there. To help accomplish that, go ahead, AJ. To help accomplish that, and you can see a little bit of it there, we have purchased the hull of a houseboat. It was a research vessel that they decommissioned, and it has no motors, no generators, any of that right now. We're in the process of getting ready to remodel this boat to make it what we need it to be. And when we finish remodeling it, it's going to, hopefully, we're working with the marine architect right now. It'll hopefully hold 20 to 24 people plus crew. And the idea will be we can go as long as 10 days without having to resupply. And then if we can just go and send a small boat to go get fuel and food and things like that, we can just stay out for long periods of time. That we can go that 13 hours and we can sleep on the floor of a hut and do all that. I've done that. But when you go and do that, you can only do that 2 or 3 days. because you don't sleep well, you don't eat well, you don't bathe, you don't do all, they don't want you around after that. But, they can, so anyway, but this would allow us to go and do really effective ministry in places people can't go. And people don't go, not because they don't want to, just they can't get there, okay? So that's where we're going. Total cost of this project is going to be about $250,000. You go, man, just build a new one. Yeah, tried that. The lowest estimate I got for building a new one like that was $600,000, and that didn't include registration, which was a couple of years process and would cost $75,000 to $100,000 extra. And so this one's already registered. So all we got to do is transfer registration. So anyway, about $250,000 right now. We've raised about 70 of that. Okay, and so that's just something that we're pushing for and pushing toward. And so, but that's just one thing. Go ahead, AJ. I think that ends it up there. But that's just one project I tell you about. We're also excited. We're working this summer. I'll be in Peru. I'll also be in France working with a missionary over there, taking a team to help him. And then we have a man who is doing mission work in Israel, and he has asked us to come and help him in his mission work in Israel. So we're hoping to be able to start some things there, working with young people and others in the nation of Israel. And so anyway, so that's our ministry.